Good afternoon, Chairman Hurd, Ranking Member Ledger Fernandez, and honorable members of the committee. My name is Ervin Carlson, and I'm a member of the Blackfeet Nation, and I'm president of the InterTribal Buffalo Council. I have submitted a detailed statement that I will now summarize. No words will ever sufficiently explain the degree to which so many Indian tribes have depended on the Plains buffalo for their survival. They provided food, shelter, clothing, and essential tools, to name but a few ways they provided for us. They became one of the most central figures to our culture and to many of our religious practices. And to this day, you will hear Indian people referring to the buffalo as my relative to signify how closely connected we are, and they are very sacred to us. Historians tell us that there were once between 30 and 60 million buffalo living on what is now North America. But due to the wanton and unbridled overhunting by non-Indian buffalo hunters, millions and millions of our buffalo were slaughtered. The destruction was so complete that by the early 1900s, only a few hundred buffalo remained. Indeed, the population of the Indian people, once numbering in the millions, was estimated to have dropped to 250,000 by the early 1900s. Only a few hundred buffalo remained. Indeed, the population of the people, like I said, was estimated to drop by 250,000 by the 1900s. On my reservation, we talk about the starvation winter of 1883, when 1/4 of the tribal population died. And this was not unique just to the Blackfeet. Many other tribes suffered similar tragedies. Without the buffalo, Indians were forced to live on reservations and lost much of their historical lifestyle and independence. Sadly, historical records show that the U.S. military was complicit in this near extinction of the buffalo, as it provided a way to deal with their Indian problem. The quote, attributed to Lieutenant Colonel Dodge, to kill every buffalo you can, every buffalo dead is an Indian gone. And that's one that remains in my mind so much. Thanks to the far-sighted efforts of a few tribes working together with efforts of early conservationists, including Teddy Roosevelt, the buffalo were brought back from the brink of near extinction. For the Indian people, the restoration of buffalo herds on our lands began in earnest in 1991 when a handful of Indian tribes organized the InterTribal Bison Cooperative, now known as the InterTribal Buffalo Council. We were granted a federal charter in 2009 pursuant to the Indian Reorganization Act. Our organization has grown significantly, and today I'm proud to tell you that we have 90 tribes in 23 states, all dedicated to restoring herds to our lands. The Indian population of our member tribes exceeds 1 million people. We greatly appreciate that you, Chairman Hurd, together with representatives Ledger Fernandez, Federchak, Newhouse, Fleischman, Cole, Bejic, Davids, and Bice, have introduced H.R. 79554, the Don Young, Doug LaMalfa Indian Buffalo Management Act. This is a successor to the legislation initially introduced by the late Don Young of Alaska, and which he got through the House in the 117th Congress and before he left this earth. Senators Martin Heinrich and Mark Wayne Mullen got it through the Senate in the 118th and reintroduced it there in the 119th. Comparable legislation was also introduced in the 118th Congress by Congressman LaMalfa, Congressman Peltola, and others, where it was unanimously reported out of the House Committee on Natural Resources. Before it could advance further, changes needed to be made to the bill to ensure its consistency with new House protocols. As a result, language in the bill authorizing a new $14 million authorization was deleted, as was language creating a new program in the Interior. The bill now simply directs the Secretary to work with tribes towards its implementation. The Senate bill also deleted those two provisions to be consistent with House protocols. It is pretty basic legislation to assist tribes and organizations like ours in restoring buffalo herds to our tribal lands. It requires strict compliance with state and federal laws governing the translocation of buffalo, and we had extensive discussions with the cattle industry and agreed to a series of changes they requested to ensure meat safety and to limit buffalo restoration to tribal lands. By enacting this legislation, Congress will be making a statement that assisting tribes in the restoration of their buffalo herds is a priority. Tribes need buffalo, fencing, watering systems, genetic diversity in their herds, supplemental feed, and testing, to mention just a few items needed for a successful herd. Some tribes tell us they wish to establish herds for cultural purposes and that a small herd would be sufficient as a means of teaching their children to the history of our people and this great animal and having the meat for special ceremonies. Others wish to create jobs, use the meat in the school lunch program, and for community events, and still others hope to grow their herds large enough to get into small-scale commercial production. Our members in Alaska have referenced the need for protein and basic food security, especially when successful subsistence hunts cannot be ensured. Whatever reason, this legislation is very important to the many Indian people, and we hope we will help see it enacted into law this year. And with that, I sincerely thank you for hearing me today on this very important issue here, just as all as these issues here from the tribes are very important.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carlson. Really appreciate that. Ms. Nagel, you're recognized for 5 minutes.